And years later, they never forgot that. And Honorary honored her. She's the first African American to ever the first woman and first to receive an honorary doctorate degree from that. She never went higher than high school, you know. Look just like him, and I look like my mom. But on the back, these are the list that I have, and I rewrote this. But I had the original. This is not the one Neil gave me. When I took this picture of him, he gave me the list of all his parents and siblings and the date of birth. And Shirley sent me one that the same list that Neil originally wrote out. That Sonny had, you know, and Shirley sent me a copy of that. So all these names that are on here is 10 of them. And it's called, Joseph was the oldest according to this, then Cassie, she was born, Joseph and Cassie and Neil were born in Mississippi. And then they have somebody on here, I don't know how you pronounce it. Ephesian,
Fisma, yeah, something like that.
He was born in Alabama. Bessie Mae was born in Alabama. Shelley was born in Alabama. Your mom, it says, born in Mississippi on here.
Mississippi, yeah.
Alonzo was born in Mississippi. Eddie I got Eddie on here, and he was born in Oklahoma. Either born or died. It's only one date here. And Lester, he went to Kansas. They say he was born in Kansas, but I don't know.
My thing say Lester was a female.
Really? Yeah. But that's a male name on here, so
yeah.
There was also a Christy Stanford, and she was born in Mississippi in 1916.
1916. See, I don't have that one on here. Unless Alonzo has some other kids somewhere.
This is very possible.
Oh, wow. So I wish this is something I rewrote myself, and somewhere in my records I have the original one that my dad gave me. It's somewhere, I gotta find it, but I just thought that was interesting. I did this because you mentioned a number different from this one.
But like you said, I think they had some children. This is what I was just told in general, not from anyone specifically in the family, but like during that time, they had lots of children because, you know, there was no birth control. And a lot of times they would have children, but then the children would die. So that's where some of the things are missing in the history, because we have these children, but we have no information on what happened to them, you know, or we have multiple births, but then only one child survived. Now, the twins and so.
Right. Because my grandfather on my my mom's father, his family, there were only about 5 or so of them, but his youngest son, Carl, married a woman who came from 14 children. So they just, it's just nothing to.
Back then they had bunches of kids. They could afford it back then. Now you can't afford.
I know. Wow.
So are you married? You have kids? You know.
I have 2 children. I'm divorced, and I have 7 grandkids, and I just had 1 great grandson. He's 6 months old.
And I'm married. I have 1 daughter. My husband has 3. We raised 2 of them. And I raised 2 grandkids. And how many grandkids I got?
A bunch of them.
I think I have 8 grandkids and 5 great-grand.
Wow. Wonderful. Ooh, well, I married Leroy Coles on August 22nd, 1959. He was born in Buffalo. His parents came out of Richmond, Virginia, and a little small community called Petersburg, Virginia, and in the 20s. And they had 5 children. Leroy was the only son, 4 daughters and a son. And I married him in 1959. We were married for 55 years. We have 3 sons. My oldest is Kyle. I certainly look forward to you meeting them. Kyle lives in Baltimore, Maryland. He's single. He worked in New York.
Kyle is single. If you're in Baltimore.
He's now very close to whatever, 60. How old is he? 60 plus. 62 he'll be this year. And he retired from working in New York City and moved back to Baltimore because that's where he went to college. My husband went to school there, Morgan State University. Kyle went there. My middle son is Neil, and he lives here in Raleigh. That's how Leroy and I got down here. He came here in 1993 out of California where he was working and brought his bride with him. And for 4 winters, they were down here. Oh, he loved North Carolina, comparing it to California. So anyway, I would come in the winter. I had retired a couple of weeks before my first granddaughter was born. We have 2 grandchildren, that's it. And Ariana was born in 1997. I had already retired December 31, 1996, came down here to visit and be with them when she was born. And then 5 winters after that, I would come in the winter and visit down here and fell in love with North Carolina at the time with the weather and all. And Ariana is now 25. Her younger sister is 18, and she's going to the same college that her grandfather and uncles went to. Awesome. My 3rd son, Eric, is in Buffalo, New York. He's single, but Eric has mental challenges, and he developed, in college, he ran into some problems, and he was diagnosed as schizophrenic. And we went through some really rough times, but it all, what happened? I did something. Anyway, he's doing well now. He's 50 years old now, and a team works with him constantly. He lives in a safe facility and all. And we stay in close contact with him. That's basic history. You know, I worked at retired from Buffalo State College. I was in the Department of Student Affairs. Loved my job of all the many jobs I had, and I retired from there. And my husband, Leroy, he was quite the guy, a civil rights worker like you wouldn't believe, you know, and he headed up an agency for 30 some years called Buffalo Urban League. And when he retired down here after me, he really just couldn't sit still. He had to get another job. He ended up in a men's store selling men's clothes. He was quite a sharp dresser, so he enjoyed that. And he passed away in 2015. Yesterday was his anniversary of his death. But he was quite a guy, and in Buffalo, New York, they never forgot him, and they named a library after him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was something else. He was really something, wonderful father, a wonderful husband. And in his side of the family, he has some very prominent family members who he was not the first one to have a building named after him. His mother was very, very active in the community, and his brother-in-law, they named a community center after him, and the library there in Buffalo, Leroy. His sister, who's down here in North Carolina, she's 94 years old, was a music teacher. They named a music building at the high school after her. Very, very, lots of wonderful music in the family, in his side of the family.
Love that.
Yeah, I could just tell you all kinds of stories on that side. And I hadn't even talked about my mom, what a dynamite lady she was. You know, she just
Yeah, she had, was it an honorary doctorate?
Yeah, honorary doctorate degree. We were raised Catholics, you know, and all.
So were we.
Were
too. Yeah.
Anyway, Mom she was a cook, you know, excellent cook, and she cooked for the priests in one community church, Sacred Heart, where we all went to school, elementary school, and I was married in that church. But while she was doing that job in the summertime, the seminarians would come into the inner city to work. And several of them ended up at the rectory where Mama was cooking for the priest. And she would just, you know, very open lady, transparent. She would just school them on what was going on in the community and all. And years later, they never forgot that. And Honorary honored her. She's the first African-American to ever the first woman and first to receive an honorary doctorate degree from that. She never went higher than high school, you know.
Wow.
Very learned lady. I have a picture of Mom sitting at a computer that I bought her years ago, playing her games. That's all she got. It's on that computer. And she was something else.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going to see if I can find this picture Uncle Kevin took with her when he went out there for, I think it was her 100th birthday party, and she was sitting at the computer. And Grandpa, that was his thing. He used to love to do. He would just sit at the computer. Every time I would like Grandpa, he would fall asleep at the computer playing solitaire.
I know. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's awesome. So you had a picture. I remember Kevin and his wife came. Oh, the people that came out for her 100th birthday was just awesome.
Wow.
She didn't want to go to that. I mean, by then she was failing something, you know. And we had a hard time getting her there to the party. Once she got in that place and saw all those people, she was like, oh, you know. We went through to try to get her there.
I was so sad that I wasn't able to make it to that. And that's why, like I tell people, I'm like, you know, capture the moment and be there and be present when you can, because you never know when, because I was like, she has a birthday party every year. One day I'm going to make it to one of these birthday parties, but I was like, I don't know when I'm going to make it to New York. And I never made it to any of the birthday parties. I always just saw all the pictures. I'm like, oh, it looks so fun. And so now that the pandemic's dying down, I'm like, okay, I really need to get to New York and get to Ohio and see all the family members.
I know. Oh, wow. That's Mom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at her. 100 years old in her bedroom. There's her computer.
There's a computer. And that's my Uncle Kevin. She's the
baby. She was on oxygen then, you know. Her birthday was September 2nd.
Yep. And
2017. And she died for a whole year plus, December 25th on Christmas Day.
Picture on her birthday, September 2nd, 2017. That's when he was out there. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, she was so well liked. Her beautiful little church. Her church was small, and everybody knew Mama. It was packed. Who goes to a 101-year-old funeral, you know? But they turned out, and let me tell you, the worst, you guys know about this, the worst, Chantel does it, worst snowstorm you could ever have. And Mama always said, she said, I told George, my stepdad, I told him, don't you die in the winter. You know, well, he died in December, terrible weather. And then he died December 25th. And by the time we had a service, they sent the limousine to the hotel to pick us up, and the darn door was frozen, couldn't open the door. They had to send for another limousine. I mean, that's
wow.
It stopped snowing, but it was cold as the dickens. And I was scheduled to leave 2 days later back to Raleigh. Kyle was going back to New York, and I don't know where my other son and family, they had left already or whatever, but snow came down. I had rented this. I gotta take this car back. Now I've been in Raleigh almost 18 years, but I couldn't see. But guess what? I had them windshield wipers going slow. But nobody on the road with me taking that car back to the airport. I was driving so slow, speaking of pictures, and then took a picture of me in the car so you can see what I was in. It was horrible. And my brother George picked me up and brought me back to the hotel. And Kyle and I got a train back to New York.
Wow.
It was horrible weather, even when we got to New York, cold. And I said, Mama, you really pulled a fast one on us.
Now, where was that? Where was that there was so much snow?
Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo. Okay.
You heard about Buffalo.
See, and so Grandpa would always tell us, like, that's why when he moved to California, he said, I'm never moving back to New York. Like, he was like, I hate the snow. So much to the point, the year that he passed in 2014, October 3rd, 2014. But we were planning that year. We were going to do Flagstaff for Christmas because we wanted to give the kids a white Christmas. And, you know, so Grandma and Grandpa were coming and we're all going to get together. And he was like, I'm not going because I don't do this. You are going because we're all going together and we're going to have snow. It's going to be fun. And then he died. And so we were out there, you know, it was Grandma's first Christmas without him. And so we were trying to, you know, cheer her up and help her through it. And I just started laughing. I was like, Grandpa's so stubborn. He said he wasn't coming on this trip and he died to make sure he didn't come. He was not going to do this. And then it didn't even snow. And I was like, this was the worst snow trip ever. We didn't have snow.
No, I have every picture all on the train. There was everything was shut down in Buffalo. And the hotel, the driver at the hotel, we couldn't, of course, get a cab to the train station. He said, I'll take you to the train station. And, you know, we tipped him well because we did not want to miss that train.
We had one of those winters here this year. Yeah, where everything was shut down, couldn't leave the house. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are in Cleveland?
We're in Akron.
Akron, right. And see, we're on the same lake. They're on Lake Erie, the lower part, southern part, and we're up further northwest on the lake. So we get some of that same, what they call lake effect weather.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the good
Speaking
time
of, it's snowing right now.
Yeah, I don't want to come when it snows. When does the snow stop?
Well, it's hard to say.
You never know. You never know because we've had
into April.
We've had snow. We've had snow in May. We've had snow in May.
Wow.
Yeah. So you better probably June, July.
That's it. Yeah, June, July. Maybe July better, not necessarily June.
Right.
You get cool weather coming off that lake.
That would be good too.
I lived closer to Canada, so we got both.
Oh, okay.
Only 20 miles from Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got both of them. I don't regret it. 22 years down here in the South, and I can put up with whatever.
So what was Ada Stanford like? Because I hear so many things.
Yeah, tell us what you know about Ada.
She was real quiet. I know I was talking to my brother the other day and he was saying, you know, she only had one eye. And he tried to get her to tell him what happened and she wouldn't talk about it. But when me and Linda was growing up, we were real little and she barely talked. She babysat us, but she barely talked. And I just remember her watching TV and laughing. That's really all I remember.
And her snuff. She would have her can next to her. She would always have that snuff.
Yeah.
You may not talk, but she gonna chew that snuff.
I don't remember her other than being a very tall lady, and I guess because I was on, little.
Because you were little, yeah.
But I certainly would have.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about her.
Yeah.
So my grandfather had told me, he was like, yeah, she was a white woman. And I was like, she was a white woman? How did they pull that off in the
Do you have any pictures of her, Linda, or not?
The one on the Stanford Facebook page.
Have you seen? Can you find that, Chantal?
Yeah, let me.
I'd love to.
I have a picture of it. I don't know.
That's it. Yep, that's it right there. Yep.
Oh, I'd love. Can somebody send me that? Oh,
I am gonna send it to you when you send me the address.
Okay. Oh,
That's one of the pictures I'm gonna send.
Oh,
this is the picture I saw on Ancestry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's her
well, she does. She's very fair.
Yeah.
And she had very straight, it looked like very straight hair, very fine hair too.
It wasn't straight, but
yeah,
it was
I don't know
fine.
if they had wigs back there, but that might have been a wig on her head.
No, it wasn't no wig because I remember her combing it and braiding it.
No, I'm talking about the picture that Chantel just showed us.
Oh.
Because that looked real straight.
Yeah, it looks really straight.
Yeah. That's her obituary picture, I think.
Oh,
That's the picture they had
it
in
looked like.
obituary. Yeah, and it looked like a younger picture.
What is Williams? That was her maiden name.
I believe so, because it says Davis and Stanford in parentheses.
Yeah, that was her maiden name, Ada Williams. And see, I didn't know about Davis until Annette told us. Yeah.
And so she passed at 93 years old on October.
Neil was 91.
Oh,
Mama was 100. So I always telling the doctors, look, my mother lived 101, my father lived to 91. So
and that's what my grandmother said. That's what my grandmother said too. She said, I always argue with your grandfather. I told him he was going to live longer than me because his parents, had longevity and my parents died early and I outlived everybody. She passed at 77. So, and her mom passed in her 60s. Her dad passed in his 60s. So she was just expecting she was going to die in her 60s. I was like, it don't always work like that. I'm glad you stuck around.
Right.
So is there anyone else in the Stanford family you can tell us about? Now see, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I remember, of course, Shelley, but Bessie is the only one I saw in California. And when we went out there, it was 1974 that we went out there with the children, with our two sons, and everybody was talking about Bessie and those wonderful cakes.
I knew you were going to say that.
She was a baker. Okay, I
like that. She died with them recipes.
Mom had a piano at the house when he finally came back to Buffalo after 25 years, and his first wife, they had two children. Then he had another child by another lady. And then he divorced the first wife and then came to Buffalo. I mean, he walked in town, he had a woman on his arm, so He married a woman in Buffalo, Linda, and they